in April, we saw the devastating bombs that were used to maim and kill 3 individuals during the Boston Marathon. This is a classic example of where surveillance technology absolutely failed. And initially, the wrong 2 suspects were identified, and this went viral on social media. They didn't do it. It was asymmetric. The 2 individuals who were wrongly accused of having planted the bombs were defamed, in effect. They were scared, in one college student's response, to actually leave their household. A few days later, the real suspects were identified. But what happened is the asymmetry had already taken place. 2 perpetrators were identified early on. It went viral. They were categorised, and it was as if probably to them the whole world was against them. So we could have found ourselves in the same situation, wearing the wrong clothes, looking the wrong way at that particular location. What authorities have now begun to question is how much more surveillance they could have applied to find the perpetrators faster and bring them to justice. However, biometrics failed the authorities, surveillance footage failed the authorities, until one of the victims, who was maimed, said that I saw the perpetrators look at me and this is what they look like. He was able to give a direct evidence account of what he saw. However, if we say to ourselves, we can get better at this, we can introduce new technologies, we can introduce better biometrics on mobile CCTV cameras. Our smartphones can have particular sensors that can be recording, and if I'm a law enforcement officer. And what we want to do is proactively profile the community to identify potential terrorists in that community. We are going the wrong way. These are anticipatory strategies. These are situational awareness and proactive profiling, which means that you are going on potential inferred data, or big data analysis, as it's called, without actually being able to verify that this person has any intent in their head to commit a crime. And this is when it gets a little bit scary as a member of the community. If you find yourself in the wrong place via your smartphone and its GPS-enabled chipset, you look wrong, so your behavioural or your physical attire depicts you as a potential terrorist when you're not, for example. You have a bag, you have a hat, a hood, you're wearing a hood, you're trying to you're concealing your eyes with glasses, etc., etc. What we don't want is a society where there's a chilling effect and people actually don't want to go outside. And I have received numerous emails over the last 10 years of individuals potentially who have been suffering from mental illness but are scared to exit their front door due to surveillance cameras. I'm not propagating that view of the world. These people are actually feeling this pervasive computing and invasion of their privacy. So yeah, most people have nothing to hide in society, but some people feel they have everything to protect.
So it's happening then, isn't it? It's the effects, it's in its, maybe it's past in its infancy, but you can see the chilling effect you're talking about happening now.
I think the chilling effect is happening, and if we do say that some people who are mentally disturbed are disturbed by these additional uses of technologies, and we're not just talking CCTV cameras, but feeling like they've been implanted with chips, for example, we have to take these concerns seriously, not because they are happening, but because people are feeling triggers towards paranoid capacities. So you can say that we don't care about these people, they're the minority. Let them have their paranoid schizophrenia and their mental illness and their problems with being able to walk outside. We're not going to solve their problems. A psychiatrist will, and perhaps more medication. But in actual effect, we are creating new technologies that in the near future may have most people concerned about who's watching when. Can you imagine what that might feel like? I know there are sensors that track me. I know I'm wearing a smartphone that I can get instant communications with. I feel stressed by going to work because I know my boss knows when I've actually arrived at work, when I take my lunch hour, when I visit the bathroom. These ID cards can tell many organisations what is going on with employee clocking on and clocking off during particular sessions of time during the day. But what kind of society are we moving to when we need alarms, bells and whistles for absolutely every action we take?
Is that a panopticon? Firstly, what is a panopticon, and is that the definition of that?
To me personally, what's a panopticon? I think it's when I might arrive in an ubervalent society where I can't even think because the thoughts in my head have actually been inferred by somebody else. So I feel like I'm enslaved, I'm trapped, not within a prison wall, for example, but within myself. I can't have the freedom to be who I want to be, act like the person I want to act like, and just be myself without feeling someone is scrutinising my every move. And that is a real issue. You know, have you seen how police greet the media cameras when they're watching, when they're taking someone to jail? They'll do this and then keep going. So we're all playing to a theatre, whether we like to believe it or not. You know, most of us have become oblivious to the CCTV camera, you know, in the shopping malls. My kids certainly identify every camera they see, and not because I've made them look out for those cameras, but they look up at the object and think, now I wonder what that circle is and why it's flashing, or what's that alarm up there? What does it do? I think we look to children for awareness of things that are not natural. You know, I know trees are natural, I know lighting in a building is natural, but I'm not so sure anymore if that light in the building actually has a camera installed in it as well. And that becomes unnatural.